Hi, my name's Ed. Today we're going to talk about rock tumbling. First thing before we get going, I want to tell you I am not claiming to be an expert. I'm not claiming that I know everything about rock tumbling. I've been doing this for about 6 months. I've had some good results. I've had some bad results. So basically, I just want to share with what I've learned so far and try to give, for new people, a step-by-step little video of how I've done it and the results I've gotten. And I do have the hope that people who know more than me might watch this video and say, hey, you're doing this right, or hey, you're not doing this right, and this is how you should do it. So hopefully we can learn something through this. What we're going to be tumbling today is Ohio flint. I happen to be lucky enough that I live fairly near a place where I can get it pretty cheaply. And it's really neat. It comes out, I've done some other flint and it really comes out nice out of the tumbler, so it's a good rock to choose. I want to zoom in a little closer so you can get a better look at the flint. This is what we are going to be tumbling. Okay, might actually get a little closer than that. Sorry if I'm making anybody seasick, but these are the rocks that we are going to be tumbling. I kind of picked them for two reasons. One, a lot of different color variations, and two, size variations. The key is here, I'm going to be using a Lortone 3-pound tumbler. Okay, but I can tell you now that they tend to classify these tumblers by weight, but that's not really a very accurate way of doing it, because I'm going to tell you right now, that's only a little over 1.5 pounds of rocks right there. So basically 3 pounds of rocks would no way fit in my tumbler or in this 3-pound tumbler. The key here is it's not weight that you should be worried about, it's how much you fill the barrel. This is the barrel. This is a Lortone 3-pound barrel. I'm not endorsing Lortone. I like my tumbler. I think it's done great for me, but there are other brands that do, I'm sure, just as well. So, I'm not saying this is the be-all, end-all or anything like that, but it has worked well for me, and I'm completely satisfied with it. Now, the key is we want to fill this barrel between about 2/3 and 3/4 of the way high. And we want to have a little variation in the size of the rocks we use. So if you look, this is probably the biggest rock I've got in here, and this might be the smallest. So you can see, a little bit of variation in the sizes of the rocks. Okay. And different shapes and stuff like that. So we're going to put those in, and the idea is we're going to fill the barrel about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way high. Now I'm going to tell you this too. This is step one, where we're going to use rough grit. When these come out, they will not take nearly as much space as when they went in. What we are literally doing is we're going to grind off the outer layer of this, and we're going to make all these jagged edge rocks have smooth edges. The bad thing with rock tumbling, it's probably going to take, I'm guessing this one's going to take 2 weeks. A lot of times they say 1 week, but 1 week may not give you what you're trying to get. And if you don't, in my opinion, the first step is the key step. If we don't do the first step right, then we're wasting our time in the next 3 steps, because they're just not going to come out the way we want them to. Okay, so basically, here we have the rocks in the barrel. Okay, and look, it's about how high I filled it. I might be able to get a little bit more in there, but I think I'm gonna go with this. Okay, next up, we got to put in our grit. The first stage is 60 to 90 grit. I tend to keep them in these containers separately. And this is very important. When we're doing rock tumbling, you've got to be very careful of cross-contamination. Meaning, I'm going to use 60 and 90 grit in step 1. When we get to step 2, we cannot let any of the 60 and 90 grit or sludge from this barrel carry through to the next stage. If we do, it's kind of like if you took a piece of wood and you sanded it real nice, and then you take a real hard grit sandpaper and run over top of it. It's just going to mess up everything you've just done. So the whole idea is you cannot cross-contaminate. So basically I have 4 different containers to hold all my different size grits. And I've even gone, and this might be overkill, but I've even gone so far as I have a different little scoop for each one. I don't even use the same scoop between grits. My tumbler will hold 2 3-pound barrels. I actually it came with 2, I bought 2 more, and if you look, I use 1 barrel for each step. That way, I'm not even, when we go to step 2, this is not the barrel I'm going to use. I'm going to use my fine barrel. And then when we go to step 3, I'll use the pre-polished barrel, and then we go to step 4, use the polished barrel. And that should pretty much cover it. For a Lortone 3-pound barrel, they suggest 4 tablespoons of 60/90 grit. My little cup here is the equivalent of 2 tablespoons, so I put 2 of these in. It's not, I don't think it's like scientifically, if I get a tiny bit too much or a tiny bit too little, it's going to ruin everything. So you just got to keep the ballpark. We're going to pour that in there. Okay, just like that. Pour a little bit more in there. There's our 4 tablespoons of grit. Okay, then you've got to add water. Okay, I don't know if you have to do this or not. The water in my house is a little bit hard. I use a water softener. The water softener will add salt to the water. I don't know if it would hurt things or not, but I don't want the salt getting into my barrels and getting onto my rocks. I'm afraid it would mess up my final step. So I use distilled water that I bought. It's pretty cheap. I bought like 8 gallons of it last time. It was like a little over $1 a gallon. It's not a big deal. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill it up to, I usually go to where it's up to the top of the rocks, but a few rocks sticking out of the water. So not completely covering all the rocks, but getting up there pretty good. Okay, so let me look at that. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, now if I tilt this towards the camera, you're not going to be able to see where I did it. Maybe we'll be able to see that, maybe not. But basically fill the water up a little bit to the top of the rocks, but maybe not completely cover every rock. Okay, now this is the lid. I usually wet the lid a little bit on the edges before I put it on. So basically wet the edges. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but I do it. Okay, so then you put the lid on. There you go. Okay, once you've got the lid on, you got to put another lid on. This is what holds it in place while we're tumbling it. It goes right on like that. Okay, then you got your washer and your top. And when you tighten this down, you want it to be snug, but not like, if you tighten it too tight, you could actually ruin your lid. You don't want to do that. So I usually snug it down pretty good and go around the edges and push it down again and give it a little bit more. Alright, now at this point all you have to do is bring this over here, put your barrel on the tumbler and plug the tumbler in. And there you go. Now just wait for a week and I'll check them, and if they're ready we'll move on to step 2. If they're not ready, then they'll probably do another week in rough. Thank you for watching.